Sun 969, you are listening to Listen to Sun 969 exclusive to YouTube.
Wow. That's great.
What?
That's me being sarcastic.
Oh.
See, we were talking about sarcasm yesterday, and
That's not sarcasm, that's lameness.
it's very lame, but it is a very basic form of sarcasm.
Yeah, when you
As an
said, what
example.
was this? You said yesterday the lowest form of wit
Yeah.
is sarcasm or something?
That's right. So it's always known as the lowest form of wit. So there is an origin in that saying, and I've asked you to go and do some homework, and you have.
Well, I've not really. It's just been pulled up on a screen in front of me.
Yeah, I googled it in front of you, but that's all right.
But I haven't done my normal research. The reason I was so irritated by this is I love sarcasm and I think I'm highly intelligent. So I don't like it being called the lowest form of wit.
So if I turned around and said, yeah, Loz, you're really intelligent, does that mean, is that sarcastic?
No, that's mean.
Well, maybe it is mean.
Yeah.
But we all know you're intelligent.
Anyway, I was just reading, I continued reading. Apparently there's heaps of debate about where that line actually came from.
So it's not really easy to discover.
No.
You need to do hours of research
Some people
on this
say it was from John Dryden. In 1672, and some say it was other places. Someone says it was Oscar Wilde. So the usage is widely
Well,
thought
it couldn't
to
be Oscar Wilde because he was much later than 1692.
Yeah, I know. This is why it's debated because he has more to his one. So the usage is widely, though, likely incorrectly attributed to Oscar Wilde.
Yes.
The full quote. So here we go.
Okay, give me the quote.
So the full quote is actually, it's one of those ones that has been cut off and so people think it means the wrong thing. The full quote is actually, sarcasm is the lowest form of wit but the highest form of intelligence.
Oh.
That's actually the full quote.
So that changes the whole meaning.
Exactly. It reminds me of that
Out of
quote.
context.
It reminds me of the quote, blood is thicker than water, and people think it means one thing, but the whole quote is actually completely different, and the whole quote actually basically means that you make your own family, like basically water is thicker than blood, like, you know what I mean?
Right.
It means the opposite. So it's been misconstrued. Have you ever heard that? The blood is thicker than
yes,
water?
yes, so
but have you heard the full quote?
No. What's the full
All right,
quote?
hang
You
on.
better give me
I'm
the
gonna
full
have
quote on that one.
I'm going to have to
too
look it
now.
up so I say it correctly.
Yeah, got to get that right.
Hang on.
Because this is interesting. We go in different directions with this stuff sometimes. But blood is thicker than water for me has always meant that, family's more important than, like, you always go with your family. I've had this before where someone will bag out a member of their family and then you bag them out and then they go, oh, no, and they stick up for their family. Have you had that before? Where you
Here we go. Hang on, sorry. I've just found it.
Okay.
I just popped it into
all
my
right,
head.
tell me that.
Okay, so it's the blood is thicker than water quote we take to mean that blood is thicker than water, that your
you
actually
always
blood
put your
family
Yeah.
is more important.
That's
the
right.
actual real quote that has been misconstrued for centuries is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb.
Oh.
Which
so it's
actually means
opposite.
yes.
So what's the covenant stand for?
I guess I would think like coven, like friends.
Right. Okay.
So
So the blood of your friends is more important than the...
But that's taking it a bit lightly. It's more
water
that
of the
people.
womb.
You got to remember when these types of quotes were written, it was like war times and stuff. So what they're saying is like, your brothers in arms, your sisters, your whatnot, the ones that you make your family can be more so than the water of the womb.
Well, I think we see it all the time. There are a lot of people who don't have good relationships with family members, and their partners become more important, or their friends become more important, or their animals become more important,
I think what it does is just reminds us that just because someone is family doesn't mean they're allowed to treat you badly.
I think you're right. But did you like what I said? I don't think you heard before because you were researching.
Probably. I was probably ignoring you, let's be
I
honest.
asked you a question. Do you find that you've ever had a situation where someone says to you, that, they're bagging out the family member. Oh, blah, 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 blah. This person does this, that. I really can't stand what they do. Then on a separate occasion, you might say something about that family member thinking that, you've got an ally there because that's not your family member, it's the other person's family member. And then they turn around and say, oh, don't be saying that about my family.
Are
blah,
you
blah.
talking-
They change their tune.
Are you talking about, like, for example, my sister would often bag at me. And when I say bag out, I mean, when we were kids, she'd make fun of me. But if one of her friends got in the bandwagon to join her, instead she'd then
change the tune.
Yes, of course. Because she's allowed to. She's my big sister. No one else is allowed to pick on me.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I've had this many times with partners and so on where they've, blah, 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 this person, my brother or my this or that, and whinging and whining and carrying on. And then the minute you turn around and put the boot in as well, and it might be fair and reasonable boot too. It doesn't have to be unreasonable.
Doesn't matter. If it's your sibling, it's like the rules of siblings. If you can say whatever you want about your sibling, but if anyone anyone says anything about your sibling, it's throwdown.
So imagine this, you're in a relationship with someone and they're always constantly whinging and whining about their partner, their sibling, and all of a sudden you highlight something that's a fair and reasonable comment. It's not something that's like, you're being nasty. It's a reasonable comment on that person's behaviour, something they've done that's outrageous, right? And then your partner turns around and supports their sibling.
It's 100% reasonable. Do you have siblings?
Frustrating. Yes, I have many. I have 4.
So you have 4 siblings. Are you close with them?
Not really.
Okay. So
I was possibly a bit closer to them in years gone by, but not so much now.
So me and my sister are only 18 months apart.
Yeah.
And she does plenty of things that drive me nuts. And I could, to Mr. Loz, I could, she's done this, she's done that.
Yeah.
I could be having a bit of a whinge. If he so much as turned around and went, yeah, she is a bit flake. Oh, no, I would be like, excuse me, you can agree with me, but you can't add to the conversation.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, it's a trigger.
It proves the reverse meaning that we now know of that particular quote.
Yeah, but I also think that
blood is thicker than water. I
don't think it's about that though, because even so, me and my sister are so close in age and how we were raised together and such, that we are close. It's not just about being sisters. We are close.
Yeah.
And I think that's where it's different. I think in, the saying, the old saying about the covenant and whatnot, I think that's more so saying, like, you could have your brother, like back then, people could go to war and not see their family for 10 years.
Yeah, right.
So
wow.
They're not, so what, they're going to put their brother from 10 years, like, that's at home or they haven't seen in 10 years before, like the guy standing next to them on the battlefield? No.
I think
that's,
you,
exactly.
I guess, yeah.
I think that's completely different.
Got your back covered.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like a whole Game of Thrones thing.
Well, when you think about it, and I often think about this too, when we create a human being, when a guy and a girl generally creates a human being because you need those parts.
Let's not get into that. Move forward.
You can adopt or whatever. That's fine.
Okay, so yes, anyway, children, procreation.
Yes, you created a kid.
Yeah,
it's created by two different people with different blood, different backgrounds, different families. It reminds me when I DJ'd at many weddings over the years. Oh, we brought the families together, right? So they bring 2 different families together to get married and whatever, and it brings all these lines together. And if it's in a wealthy family or 2 wealthy families, sometimes it's a business deal, whatever it is. But then they create a new human being who has a bit of that person in them.
Yeah.
And to me, it just blows my mind a little bit because...
What, science?
Well, no, because really the 2 people got together, the man and the woman, are completely unrelated.
Obviously. It would be illegal if they were.
I know, but blood and thicker than water and all that sort of stuff were 2 complete strangers who were strangers at some point in their life.
No, because the person that you choose to marry becomes your blood.
Yeah.
They become your family you chose. You give them your name.
Which is exactly why, in that case, it proves the point. That person is like the person on the battlefield because you've chosen to have them supporting you through your life.
Exactly, which is why...
that's what I'm starting to articulate what I'm trying to say here. So that person has become far more important to you than your siblings or your parents or your cousins or anything like that. Definitely cousins for sure.
I don't know.
Unless you marry your cousin, and some people do that too.
Oh, God.
But no.
But yes, blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. That is what the saying is all about.
I think there is truth in that, because I would say to you, when I look at my estranged relationships with family members like my dad and siblings, that sort of thing, I look at that, and then I would look at my relationship with my kids. Well,
that's obviously got to be the strongest relationship anyone would have in their life.
Or even when you're in that relationship, when you're in the marriage, that person is far more important than even though you love your parents, it's far more important than your parents or your siblings.
Yeah.
So that person becomes, even though they're not.
Yeah.
They're the blood of the covenant. They're definitely not the blood of they're not the blood or the water of the womb.
Water of the womb, that's it. And there you go, Alice Springs. You've had a lesson in sayings this morning.
Very good.